They say the only certainties in life are death and taxes. They also say the only fear greater than death is public speaking. So let's just talk about something that rarely gets the attention it deserves, the loss of a loved one. It's painful, easier to avoid than confront, but maybe having a conversation is exactly what we need. When faced with the death of a loved one, life changes and we feel lost. How do I grieve? Where do I go from here? What will the next chapter of my life look like? Imagine quietly stepping into the heartache of a family forever changed. Their beloved Lisa and Lily lost in a Colorado flash flood. The story of Lisa and Lily is one I will never forget, and in a moment you will never forget. Why? Because as humans, we grieve, but more importantly, we remember. To write the next chapter of your life following a loss, you must first acknowledge and embrace the previous chapters. How does the story of your loved one impact your story? Stories can bring about so many emotions: joy, happiness, sorrow, guilt, regret. Like a movie, the story is often a combination of comedy, drama, mystery, and adventure. The story is about the journey of life, and navigating the journey is what life is all about. Throughout history, we have had the opportunity to share, learn, and grow through the power of story. I have come to know every life has a story the world needs to hear. And as long as we have breath, we have the power to write and sometimes rewrite the story of our lives. Over the past few years, I've had the privilege of guiding over 100 families experiencing grief, serving as a certified celebrant or life tribute specialist. It is an honor to capture, share, and memorialize the story of a loved one while officiating celebrations of life. As celebrants, we understand how crucial it is to create a meaningful tribute that reflects the uniqueness and essence of your loved one. My own journey is one of grace and opportunity, from humble beginnings to an early career in healthcare, then 25 years leading and training teams across Fortune 500 companies, a world I could never have imagined. After retiring early to start my own coaching practice, I gained the flexibility to serve my community in various capacities. Through a series of conversations, I gained a deep appreciation for the compassionate services provided by our local funeral director. Inspired, I completed a training program and began offering personalized and heartfelt services. What I have experienced in meeting with countless families experiencing grief has been life-changing and can help all of us when experiencing a loss. Healing begins the moment people gather and start sharing their loved one's story. Now, what is presented here is not to replace the support of mental health and medical professionals or a faith community. What is presented is the power of story to help guide someone through the healing process. As a family begins to reflect on their loved one's life, there will be tears and laughter, for we are reflecting on the many seasons of their journey, not just the final chapter. How did the chapters of their loved one's story unfold? The successes, setbacks, and life lessons learned. Many of these stories are not always pleasant. Broken relationships, not always present, maybe critical of others. The question is why? What were the circumstances their loved one faced during their journey of life? You cannot help but start to reflect on your own story. At the conclusion of our meeting, someone will smile and say, "This was great. We needed this." Or, "I hadn't thought about it like that before. No wonder Grandpa was one tough hombre." Often I'll hear someone say, "Why haven't we shared these stories before?" I'll ask us the same question. Why haven't we heard or shared these stories before? Are we waiting for a convenient time or to have life all figured out? Do we even know our own story? During times of sharing, I have witnessed steps in the healing process: awareness, acceptance, gratitude. First steps in healing broken relationships. The realization that people love to the best of their ability. Yes, every life has a story the world needs to hear. The elderly man who as a young person served our country with honor, never expecting much out of life, always investing in his family with love. His impact greatly impacted the life of his family and friends. They have a story. The grandmother, widowed at an early age, working her way up from the mailroom to holding top secret clearance within the defense industry, always investing in her children with love and encouragement for a brighter future. The gratitude expressed that day was the return on her investment. Her story will always be remembered. Even with the passing of someone far too soon, there is a story to be remembered. The story of Lisa and Lily is one I will always remember. Their story is now a part of my story, and now it will become a part of your story. With the family's permission, I share the following. Lisa, a 36-year-old school teacher, loved by her students, teaching was her passion. Lily, just weeks before her 13th birthday, a beautiful, spirited daughter to Lisa and Aaron. Lisa and Lily, the pride and joy of Aaron's life. The photographs of their smiles were breathtaking. They were both known and loved by their community. Lily had recently knitted little bumblebees for her entire class. She had given a presentation on how important it is to be the change. Be the change the world so desperately needs. In meeting with the family and other accounts comes the following. The tragedy happened on what the family calls our land, their own property, where they all gathered and camped going back decades. The rains poured, followed by a loud rumble. They looked up the swollen creek to see a mountain of trees, rocks, mud, and water rushing toward them. In a moment, the trailer with Lisa, Lily, and their 2 dogs was swept away. Other family members were rescued later that evening. Why? Why? They were both so young. As you can imagine, countless students, family members, and friends were present for their celebration of life. Far more tears than laughter that day. But there was a deep sense of admiration, joy, and gratitude for the impact of these 2 young lives. Everyone received a little bumblebee bracelet that day in honor of Lily. Those students will never forget their teacher Lisa or their classmate Lily. Instead of focusing on the why did this happen, we chose to incorporate their story into our story. We focused on how and what. How can I honor the life of Lisa, the life of Lily? What can I do today to be the change the world so desperately needs? The story of Lisa and Lily, the story of countless others, is a story for all of us, a lesson for all of us. Love, learn, legacy. Love. We say we love people, but are we lovable? Learn. Never stop learning and find creative ways to share what we have learned for the benefit of others. By being lovable and sharing what we have learned, we will create a legacy to be remembered. When confronted with the loss of a loved one, you will begin your next chapter when you capture the story, share the story, memorialize the story. Your loved one's life has a purpose. They will not be forgotten. You have a purpose, and you have a story the world needs to hear. Love, learn, be the change, and you will create a legacy to be remembered for generations to come.